All right, today we're going to be discussing how to use Puppet Warp in Illustrator. For this activity, you must make sure that your toolbar is set to the advanced toolbar. If you have the basic check, please switch over to advanced. The other way to do this is to go to Window, Toolbar, and make sure advanced is checked. This is a very simple activity. The Puppet Warp is underneath the free transform tool. There is no keyboard shortcut in order to be able to use this particular tool. So we are looking for the Puppet Warp tool. I'm going to be working on the giraffe for you to see for today, and then you're going to do the rest as practice on your own. In order to use the Puppet Warp, before you do anything, you have to use your selection tool in order to select your object that you want to warp. As you can see, I've given you quite complicated objects because I want you to see how things are shifted around using the Puppet Warp. Once I have gone to the Puppet Warp tool, it's going to default with the Show Mesh turned on. You are completely able to turn that off by just unchecking the box. The Puppet Warp is going to default you with some objects already selected, and it's going to pin things based on what it thinks you need. These are easily removed by just clicking on them and hitting the delete or the backspace key. To add a pin, you're going to see that my Puppet Warp tool now has a plus mark over it where I am able to pin. When I come off of it, that plus sign goes away because there's nothing here for me to pin. So I'm going to pin my foot here. My head is already pinned. This is already pinned. I'm going to pin my tail. And what I want you to see is when you select a pin, you can do a couple of things. One, you can move your mouse and you can rotate that object surrounding that pin, or you can move everything down or up. You can make it smaller, or you can make it longer, and you can completely manipulate your pinned object. It's important to make sure, however, that you keep it looking realistic. For example, this leg is not moving based around a knee joint. So if I add a knee joint and then move, that's going to lock that knee joint in for me. Here's something neat. If you delete that original pin, it's going to put your object back the way it was. So that's kind of something to be aware of. The other thing is you have to make sure that you watch the proportions and the way things get rearranged. If I move this too much, you're going to start seeing some disproportion of some of my objects. For example, that triangle on the giraffe's neck is now outside of its neck. So that's something to very much be aware of. For this activity, all I want you to do is I want you to relocate something on your giraffe. I want you to rotate a pinned object, and then just subtly change your animals. And I want you to do this for all 4 animals on this worksheet. Hopefully you'll see that this adds a lot of versatility for doing things if you wanted to use the same image multiple times and you didn't want to have to redraw the entire image. If you use the Puppet Warp, you can shift and change things without having to start over and draw this from scratch. And that is how to do the Puppet Warp. Thanks. We'll see you again next time.